The Virginia Beach man who injected his ex-girlfriend with cyanide on Valentine's Day could spend the rest of his life behind bars.
It took just 15 minutes for a jury to recommend a life sentence for Joseph Merlino for the poisoning death of Ellie Tran.
13 News Now reporter Allie Weatherton was in the sentencing hearing today. And Allie, how did Merlino react to all of this news?
Well, David, Joseph Merlino had no emotion as the clerk read out life in prison without parole. Ellie Tran's family was relieved. They were crying and say justice is finally served.
It's very, very difficult to talk about this.
The Tran family is still dealing with unimaginable pain. On Valentine's Day in 2017, they lost a daughter, a mother, and a friend.
She is the sister that I will remember of every day.
Joseph Merlino injected his ex-girlfriend Ellie Tran with a high dose of cyanide. It was all caught on video.
I think that the evidence was clear as his guilt and his involvement in this murder, and I think that the jury returned that verdict and saw that as well.
During sentencing this morning, both the defense and the Commonwealth had impact witnesses. For the defense, it was a friend of Merlino's dad who passed away a few years ago. He says he's totally shocked by this and wanted the jurors to have, quote, mercy on Merlino. The Commonwealth's witness was Fee. There wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom when she explained that Tran's young daughter knows her mom is in the sky. Fee says one day the little girl was swinging very high and says she was looking for her mommy.
Now the family is trying to move on. Fee Tran says it would be easier for her parents and Ellie's daughter to live in Vietnam, but she says her sister Ellie loved America and wanted her daughter to grow up here. They are doing everything they can to make that happen. Now Merlino's formal sentencing is scheduled for September 26th. Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.